Hi there, it's Melissa and welcome back to my channel. So today I have another layout for the Confessions of a Paper Addict cut files design team, and I am using the Happy Heart Trails cut file, which is a cut and stitch cut file. So what I did on my Silhouette Studio was separate the cut part from the stitch part. I cut the heart separately, and then I got my Cameo to, I guess it's cut little holes, and so they line up perfectly if you keep them the same size. And off camera I backed it with the Cocoa Vanilla Studio Bohemian Dreams collection, which is absolutely gorgeous, and there I have some sequins that have come from previous scrappery kits. And I also use some Spiegelmom scrap sequins, but I don't show the entire stitching of the cut file. So for this one I really wanted to do the technique where you stitch the sequins onto your page, and so I decided to show you how I do it. So I come up from the back and then I go down into the next hole into a sequin. So I stitch the sequin down and then I come up the next hole like you would with back stitch, put a sequin onto my needle, and you want to make sure if it's a sequin that isn't flat, if it's one that slightly has the raised edges, you'll want to have the raised edges facing up, and then you go back down the hole into the other sequin, and you'll see there that I made sure that the sequin was sitting the right way up. Then you come up the next hole and put another sequin on, go back through the sequin, so on and so forth. So I decided I was going to have an uneven number of sequins. At this point I thought maybe 3, but I decided that 5 would be better. And I just wanted the look of kind of like kite tails with a little bit of detail under the kite, but in this case it's hearts. Virginia does have a similar one like this called Stitched Kite Trails. Sorry guys. And so I think I'm going to try that for another layout as well. So then I just finished my little tails just with back stitch and the white thread. I did think about colour matching my thread to go with the colours that were in the papers lining up with each heart, but I decided that with the sequins that would just be too much. So what I've done is gone for 2 shades of colour, or I should just say 2 colours, because in some instances they are not the same shade. I've just looked at whatever heart that little thread is joined to, and then I've pulled colours of sequins appropriately. So that first one's quite dark purple, and I think I've put, I can't see quite properly, I don't have it in front of me, but maybe just some shimmery white sequins. And then I just backed it all with foam, craft foam, fun foam, as you can see here, and then adhering it with a mixture of double-sided tape and Tombow. And I must say I'm really happy to have Tombow glue back. It's definitely my favourite glue, and I just wish you could get it in a fine line bottle. So if any manufacturers are listening that make Tombow, please put a fine line bottle or have an attachment to go on top of it. Okay, so I just put a bit of glue on the small pieces of craft foam where I couldn't be bothered putting tape on. And now, oh, I forgot to add that I added an extra little hole on the top of each of those trails, just so that I could have the sequence start immediately, or the stitching start immediately adjoining the bottom of each heart. So I have this photo of Ava, and I must say, when I finished this layout, I was decided to tackle the massive stack of layouts that I have not put away for the past couple of years, and I was so gutted because I discovered that I'd already scrapped this photo and told the story basically in the same way, almost the same words. But the reason I'm so gutted is because I have so many photos. I have 4 kids. I have a lot of memories that I want to get recorded, and I feel like although this turned out to be a really lovely page, I feel like I kind of wasted a bit of time in telling the story twice. But I guess I can put it into our family album and keep it there. Although I actually like this page better than the one I made previously, so I'll probably just switch it out, or maybe I'll just keep both in her album. It won't really matter. But the story is basically she was born with some kidney issues and had to keep having tests done, and it started when she was 4 months old. It's been quite traumatic for her and for us as well, and we had to keep going down to our base hospital, which is a couple of hours away, and she had to go and have this nuclear scan, which is where they put the special dye. They put a needle in or a line in, inject you with some dye, and then you have a special scan and they trace how the dye goes through your body. So that's what she was having here. My husband took her. I was going to take her on my own, but then I felt too nervous about it, about how I would handle it, and so he took her, and she was fine. She was very brave, and she's had it done before, but the first time she had it done, she was a baby, so didn't remember. And she's really good now. Like, we haven't had any issues. She's still got, as far as we know, it's a congenital, non-genetic problem, although I have had the same problem and had kidney surgery, but the doctors are saying that it's not genetic, but it's the same side or the same kidney as what I have or had. I had part of my kidney removed when I was 23. So there's a bit of information about our family. Yeah, and of course, you know, I document everything. Some of the stories aren't so great, but they're still worthy of being put in the kids' albums, because I want them when they're older to see that I kept a pretty good record of their life. And no, I can't document every photo, I can't scrap every memory, but the big ones I do. And so with Ava, I have a few to catch up on, actually, a few other appointments and doctor's visits and hospital visits that I need to scrap. And I did the same thing with Brielle when she had her arm in a cast, and it's a whole other story there, but yeah, it's really cool because she can't really remember it, and so when she looks back now, she can. And of course, that's where the journaling to me is really important. So I'm getting quite philosophical in my latest videos, and yeah, I guess to me, scrapbooking is more than just the pretty products. That's important too, and scrapping the photo is important, but it's the memory that goes with it. So yeah, anyway, this collection was part of an older scrappery kit, and I've been trying to use my stash as well as play with my hip kits. And so with this one, I needed a collection or a kit that had a lot of pattern paper. And what I love about the scrappery kits is that you'll get 4x6 and 3x4 cards that are made from the actual papers, like the 6x6 or 6x8 paper pad cut down. And so it's really, really good for backing cut files, and you don't have to sacrifice a full sheet of 12x12. And I think the only piece of 12x12 paper that was used in this was that multicoloured big heart in the centre. So that moth there was on one of the cutter parts, and I just fussy cut it out. Just needed a little bit of something at the top. I did not go overboard with embellishing this page because it didn't need it. I think the hearts and the sequins and all the stitching, or even though the stitching is subtle, is quite a busy page as it is, and I just felt that in order to focus on the photo and of course the cut file, in this instance I did want the cut file to shine, that adding heaps of embellishment or even mixed media or splatters was just going to be too much. And so I'm happy with how it turns out. Obviously I'm a little annoyed that I'm scrapping the same photo again, but there's nothing I can do about it. I've got to get over it. There's more important things than getting annoyed about that. And I love how it turned out, and I used that You Are Born to Shine because I thought it was perfect, and also because it pulled some of the blue. You've got that blue heart on the right, and there's no other blue really in this page, and so I wanted to pull out some more. I was going to put the date or some journaling on this little label, but in the end I just thought, no, let's just use it as a layer under there just to provide some balance on the right side, and so that's what I've done. I did fuss around with the positioning of that little You Were Born to Shine, but in the end I decided that I liked it where I'd placed it, and just adhering it with double-sided tape and some liquid adhesive. So it just needed that foam just to lift it up, because I've got quite a lot of layers there. And I think I've got foam behind my photo, or haven't I? No, I don't think I have. yeah, and I forgot to say that when you do glue on top of stitching, if you use double-sided tape, you want to put some liquid adhesive as well. Now, I didn't show me placing the title because it took a while. I was going to have it on the hearts, but then it all got lost, and the blue alphas in particular got lost in all the colour. So I just like it to the right side. I think it needed something to balance, something more than just that label, but to balance that cut apart. So just adding my journaling, and that is my layout. So yeah, I was tempted to add some splatters, but at the same time I didn't want to ruin what I'd done. I didn't want them to get I guess end up on the stitching, and then it would look a bit weird. So yeah, pretty clean layout for me, quite busy, but also quite simple, and I love Virginia's cutting and stitching files. So make sure you head on over to the Etsy shop and check them out. The link is below. Thanks for watching.